Okay, so I just got to be obedient and just do this. It's later than what I would like it to be for me to do this because, of course, I have to get up really early and I've got things I have to do which require me to be alert and be aware and not be tired and drained. I have to be mentally sharp in what I do. So I don't like to go to bed too late. I don't like dealing with that struggle. I'll be obedient to spirit though. I will be obedient. And it's been interesting, don't get me wrong. There's been a lot of waking up at unusual hours and just a lot of different stuff. Some nights I've slept like a baby. Very strange dreams. Very, very strange dreams. I had a unusual dream the other day, and I'm reluctant to share it. However, that's just because of the nature of it, and I'm not going to give all the insight and details of everything. I would just say this: I it was a sexual dream. Let me just put it that way. It was a sexual dream, and it was very vivid. And what was happening is the engagement was going on, but I couldn't feel anything. And I didn't really understand that because the arousal was there, the the desire of the just that base desire was there, and the thing that shook me is the person is someone I had not ever seen before. Okay, and she had like gray hair, but she was beautiful. She was older, but she was beautiful. She was well preserved in her beauty. However, her hair was white, very long white hair, and I went into the attic of this house. She wanted to show me the attic, and there was poltergeist activity that was going on. And she would talk about it as though she knew the entity that was throwing things around. So there was a article of clothing on the bed, and it was just levitating. This didn't bother me. This didn't really. This I know it didn't at all. It didn't scare me. It didn't frighten me. It provoked me to go into combat mode, and so I spoke to that entity, and I said no. I said, "You get out right now," and I began to be aggressive in attacking that spirit, and that entity just kept things levitating. And then all of a sudden, it finally left. And when it left, the woman was laying on the bed and she was in a very seductive gesture. And I found myself doing something that seemed like it was unlike me. It was, I began to, caress her leg, and one thing led to another, and I felt nothing. There was no sensation of a sexual engagement taking place. There was no sensation of that, and I believe that because she sensed that I was not receiving any type of pleasure from it, it bothered her. So she began to just get off of me. And then these things were manifesting in the house. And they were manifesting, and I found myself in a vehicle as they were talking about being afraid to go into the house. They were afraid, and there were things that were literally eating the walls of the house like food, and they were afraid of it. You could hear rumblings and disturbances that were going on in the house. Now, mind you, at this point, I'm in a vehicle and I'm hearing them talk about it, and I'm hearing the ruckus that's going on in the house and sitting outside looking at the house. We were out in the country. So I'm not afraid like they are. It's almost like I knew what they were. And I said, hey, you need to get XYZ. I'm not going to give all the details of the dream. But what was happening is there were fish. I kid you not. There were fish that were strange color. They were almost like the color of a lapis lazuli. They were that type of a color, and the kind of patterns you would see on that stone. And they were circling around the house like birds would be, but they were fish, and they were devouring the house. And so something was done, and I can't remember what I did, to be honest with you. And I killed one of them, and I revealed to them, I'm like, this is just fish. You should do XYZ. And all of a sudden, the problem had got solved. Something else was taking place. I woke up. Strange thing is, I went to work, and I went into the parking garage, got out my Jeep, and I had got into the elevator. Now this is very strange to me, right? So I went to the fourth floor to park. Okay. So I'm on the fourth floor of the parking garage, and there was a lady that got on the elevator with me that looked just like the woman I was involved with in the dream. Kid you not, I was unsettled. As a matter of fact, my spirit was offended being in the elevator. I didn't know why. I just there was just this. I didn't like this woman. I felt something coming off of her. I did not like, and I didn't even mention the guilt and the stuff I felt when I woke up. And I felt like I was just, I don't know, I felt like I was violated. I felt like I did something I wasn't supposed to do. I felt guilty because I've been being celibate on purpose, and I've been standing strong and just doing my best, and I'm not going to give myself a pat on the back to wind up, getting challenged in something. And I'm not trying to put myself in a situation. I saw this lady, the same lady in the dream that I was doing things with, in the elevator coming down from the fourth floor to get to the ground level where I could then go into the building. And she was unsettled by my presence. I was unsettled by her presence. We did not speak to each other. She seemed at first like she wanted to say something to me, but because she detected I wasn't even trying to have a conversation, I just kind of gave off this attitude. I'm not gonna lie, which is not like me. I'm a really really social or cordial. That's the word I'm looking for. I'm a cordial person. I'll acknowledge you. I'll engage you. I'll have a little bit of small talk with you. Things like that. It's not like me just to be in your presence and just be repulsed by you to the point that I make you uncomfortable by the way I kind of look at you and turn away from you. But she picked up on that and she began to do the same thing. Now, what happened where it would have made logical sense for her to park on the fourth floor and then go uh, where we would go to actually go into a facility, she goes down to the ground level and goes back into the parking lot. And if you would have been able to, if I could put it in words, it's like you park on the fourth floor and you go down and you then go back, but you go into the first floor like you park there. That was the strangest thing I've had happen in some time, and I know it seems subtle, but boy, that was strange. Energetically, that was a energy weirdness. So I can say that was some strange shit. Um, I began to really panic because I didn't know what the heck I gotten into. I was like, man, did I just get spiritually robbed of something? Did something happen to me spiritually that shouldn't have happened in my? I began to worry about what I allowed to happen and how things happen. I felt so much guilt or what have you, and it came to me to just give myself grace. And something came to me that was telling, I know the spirit was talking to me, was telling me not to even let it have power over me because it was intended, the intent was for me to be distracted by it and to feel guilt and to harbor over it. I prayed. I began to cleanse myself and I moved forward. And it's been interesting. Don't get me wrong. Some strange things have happened. And I'm talking about people just trying to mess with me. I'd be in traffic and people just trying to do stuff to mess with me. Weird stuff. And of course, in traffic out here in the Dallas area, people just drive crazy anyway. But it's different when they messing with you. And you're like, what? I mean, I would be going and I'd be going a fluid amount of speed and the person cut in the fast lane and then go 50. So it's just a lot of weird stuff. And this morning when I went to work, I was in a foul mood from what had happened with just the experience on the road. And I found myself, man, I was cussing like a sailor. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was straight up, I was straight up hoodwinked. And I realized that I was tripping as I was tripping. I bust out laughing. I was like, I was like, I was like, I'm pissed. I was like, I'm effing mad. I'm trying to keep my language clean, y'all. I got a mouth on me that I'm working on. I'm really working on that. That's something I have to confess. I was like, man, I'm effing mad. I'm talking to the Most High now. I know some of y'all be like, oh, what the heck? I mean, come on now. You don't try to do what I do. What works for me, and I'm authentic. I'm honest. I'm just being me, right? And that's the way I feel. Is we should just be who we are when we pray and when we engage spirit and when we engage our spirit team and all that good stuff. Be real. You don't always have to be all formal. Be respectful, but be real. There's no power in being fake. So I had some strange things happen. And for what's happening out here, so many of you are going through a lot of challenges as it relates to your status in relationship. You are wondering when you are going to be with the right person. And for some of you, you've already met the right person. I have a feeling that the majority, and I mean very few of you that are listening, have not met the right person. Majority of you who are listening have already met the right person. However, it's got to work out in its own time, and you can't rush the process and you can't obsess over it. Okay? If you ask the Most High to show you who that person is and it happens, you're stepping into another level of discomfort because then you're going to want it to start happening like you want it to start happening. And it doesn't happen that way. So, what I have learned to do is to focus on the journey as it's unfolding and to not be disrupted by the desire for everything I want just to fall in my lap when I want it to fall in my lap. And that is so challenging because we face obstacles in life that sometimes we don't want to talk about what obstacles we face. And we just want something to work out for us because we want to feel some kind of relief. We want something to go right for us because so much has gone wrong. And what we need to do is fix our perspective. Okay? This is why I tell people the importance of being grateful and counting blessings and considering things and meditating and all that kind of stuff. It all works. It all works. And for you to move forward, you're going to have to not let things bother you as it comes to the season that you're in, as you're living in a single season for those of you, and this is really talking to those who are single. If you're in I'm going to be controversial because I feel this. I just picked up on this. Oh, I don't like saying this. I don't like going here. It makes me feel really uncomfortable to say this. Oh, I just got to do it. Some of you are married to the wrong person. Some of you are married, and that marriage is the goodness. Some of you are married, and that marriage is the weapon against your destiny and against your purpose. Oh boy, I feel a certain way about marriage. So for me to say that, I don't like doing that. I don't like doing that. It's not about me though, and my personal experiences. This is for who needs to hear it. What I hear the Spirit saying is that you deserve to be who you are intended to be, and that is happy, fulfilled, encouraged, enhanced, inspired. That's the purpose of a spouse. That's the purpose of a girlfriend, a boyfriend, a husband, a wife. If you're not getting that, you got into that in the wrong energy, and you are trying to sustain something that was started in the wrong energy. So the correction of the correction to get back on course and get into alignment is going to come with some discomfort. The discomfort will be temporary. The discomfort will be intense for a season, Good night. I don't feel like saying what I'm picking up on. This is talking to the married people that are listening, and you've been struggling in that marriage, trying to fix that marriage. You put energy that should have been put into your purpose into trying to fix something that keeps going wrong and keeps going wrong. That's got to stop, because what's happening is it's setting a cycle in place that will go on for generation to generation until somebody else has to come in, if you don't do it, and stop the cycle. You have been assigned to stop the cycle. And because you chose what you chose to get into in the wrong energy, it has to be fixed in order for you to get in the right place, for you to do what you've been placed here to do. So, to sum it up on that, this is the beginning of a breakup season for those that are in relationships that they should not be in. And don't concern yourself, is what I'm hearing, with why you got into it. What you need to concern yourself with is going with the awakening to your true purpose. You're not trying to go to somebody new and replace somebody. As a matter of fact, the awakening for you that's taking place is you stepping into a whole new you, and the old you must be put away. And that process that some people would consider a type of death, that process is going to cause some tears, but those tears will become treasures. You already know this, is what the Spirit's saying. You already know this because you're dependent on that other person's energy. For some strange reason, I keep on hearing Stockholm syndrome. And I think I'm talking to somebody that's been putting up with some abuse. Been putting up with I'm picking up on a heavy abuse. I'm not really picking up on infidelity. That could come with the picture. I'm picking up on somebody that has been abused, and this could be a man or a woman. You know better than I do. I'm picking up on abuse. I'm picking up on verbal abuse, physical abuse, and overall what I'm hearing is spiritual abuse. This person was sent to you at a moment where you needed to be the focus of your life. That person was intended to take you off course, and it was beyond the purpose of it just being you. It was a setup for a karmic cycle. There is good news. There is good news for you. This is not bad news. This actually sets you in place to operate in power and get the rewards for making the tough choice. And after the time has fulfilled itself where you are standing in your power on your own, the right person for you is going to come into your life, and everything that you fantasized of having as joy, peace, and fulfillment is going to be experienced. I keep on hearing strength to strength. You'll go from strength to strength. You'll have somebody that inspires you constantly, and you'll do the same for them. You'll literally you'll give into each other. You'll pour into each other, and you'll never be empty, is what I heard. You'll pour into each other and you'll never be empty. Wow. Wow. So I'm gonna leave that part at that. For the single people that are listening, this is a season to not give up and give in to temptation. This is not the time to get bound up in soul ties, because the individual that is being prepared for you is being prepared for you as you are being prepared for them. This is not the time to jeopardize that, because it is optional, is what I'm hearing. The best choice is optional. You can choose the best for yourself, or someone else will get that because you chose not to stand in the power to experience what you can have. That other person that's being prepared for you is being prepared by being at their best and leveling up and increasing in knowledge, wisdom, and so many other ways. They're increasing and they're being blessed internally. God's doing the work inside of them. And then when you come together, there's going to be massive enhancements that take place that are seen on the outside. So you might be starting off where you both are in a place where you don't have the money that you will have later, that the material stuff that is coming, because it can't help but be that way. The inner work is being done with both of you, and you're going to meet each other as the inner work is being completed. The inner work won't be completed. You're going to meet each other as it's happening, and the blessing that's going to be there, that's going to create such a powerful bond, is that it will feel like you are completing each other, because in many ways you are. Now, you don't have to choose this. If you give in to temptation and you go to contaminating your soul with all these other connections and energies which are not intended for you, then you've made your choice. You've made your choice, and there will be someone else that is leveling up that will get that blessing if you choose to forfeit it. It's a critical decision. It's a critical decision. And on a internal level, you know this because you've asked for some things that are beyond normal in your realm of experience. You will be the first to have what others in your family and your lineage have not had. And I even hear that you will be the first to have a successful marriage. You're going into that. Some are going out of marriages in order to later go into greater. And some are going out of marriages because they are called to be single. They just want to be on their own. They want their independence. They felt stifled, and they are there's just that's something that they're at peace with and they're cool with and they desire. And that's okay. What I'm feeling really heavy is I'm feeling a loneliness, but it's not normal loneliness. It's I'm feeling that, and this is not of me. Like I said, I've been single for a little while, and I've been being celibate, and yeah, I get tired of being single sometime and all that. However, I know what I've asked the Most High for. I know what He showed me and allowed me to see, and and all that. So I'm not feeling like some of you are feeling. I'm picking up on what a lot of people are feeling that are called to this message. And and there are also those that are just randomly observing. They're just randomly observing. I really pick up on monitoring spirits that are just going to listen to this just for the heck of it. I shouldn't say a lot of them will do it. And I just feel this, that they're there. However, the people that are drawn to this will be impacted by it. And that's going to be the greater number. And I'm going to be completely honest with you that this is a season to withstand your impulses. You're going to be tempted in ways that you want to be tempted. And that's what makes this temptation so dangerous, because you haven't had what you want like this in a while. And if you take the inferior option, don't complain later that you were not warned. Okay. I know this firsthand. I know this firsthand because there are some young ladies that are super fly that I've come across that have made it known to me that there's a desire there. And if I just went off of the outside alone, I would have, I would have, I probably would have been dealing with all of them. Beautiful, attractive. However, they're not who I want. It took me a little while to grow like this. It took me a while to grow like this. So I can empathize and possibly relate to what many of you are feeling. I can definitely pick up on what many of you are feeling. And I know many of you who are very triggered by this, what I'm saying. This, you're probably wondering, why am I still listening? You're vexed. That's confirmation right there for some of you. For the somebody who really, really, I'm talking about urgently needed to hear this message. You're vexed so far because you don't like what you just heard, but you know it's true. That's why you didn't cut it off, and you know that it's for your best. And I'm going to tell you right now, when you get in alignment, you're going to feel like it all happened quick in hindsight. As you get in alignment, you're going to feel like it's taken forever. So understand what is intended for you, it takes some patience to have. Okay? The system is set up against what I'm talking about. Your biology and your biological makeup is designed to not want to accept what I'm talking about because it goes against the impulse, that desire just to be whatever, to have whatever you need to have so far as you feel like you need it. The other day, I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm gonna be transparent. I was like, man, I need a woman. I ain't gonna lie. I was in that energy, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I was like, I was just, I was like, man, I need to get somebody. I'm tired of waiting. I need to go on and make something happen. If it work out, it work out. If it don't, it don't. And then I had a slap myself moment. I was like, wait. It really, like, reality kicked in. Everything I've been through, all the stuff I've learned. Why in the world would I want another cycle for some temporary pleasure, for temporary comfort? That's selfish to begin with. That's selfish because it's all about me, me, me. And so a lot of you have gotten into relationships with the me, me, me energy. I got to get it. Especially a lot of you guys who are listening, you just wanted to get a quick nut, or you wanted to be, you wanted to feel alive. You wanted to feel excited, and she got you excited. And that was all about you. That was all about you. And the change that's taking place will get you out of that. It's going to get you out of that, where you'll be amazed when you look at it. Now, you're not going to choose someone you're not attracted to. It's amazing when you come across that perfect person for you. When you come across that perfect person for you, you only have eyes for them. Something just happens when you come together, when you get together, just to shake hands, just to meet up for coffee. In that in that engagement where your auras merge, you will be like, wait, this is it. It's no way of explaining it. It's no way I can put it in words. You're going to get to that point. And then what's beautiful about it is that you are going to be concerned about their well-being. You're going to be concerned about their how good life is being to them. You're going to want to be what you wanted them to be for you. You're going to want to be for them, and it's not going to be based on mere body chemistry. That's going to be a part of it, but there'll be something deeper in you that wakes up. And a lot of men do not experience this because they forfeit it. They forfeit it because they keep collapsing under the wink and the smile and the opportunity. And I'm going to be honest with you, it's not worth it. It's not worth it just to have somebody. Why get with somebody that you know you likely to break up with? What does that do for what the primary best choice would have been? The prime choice. What I meant to say, I said primary. What does that do for the prime choice, ladies and gentlemen? What does that do as far as the prime choice? That one that's going to meet and exceed your expectations, needs, and desires. Where the other, at the best, they can just meet it. They can never exceed it. Mentally, spiritually, physically, all that stuff. People forfeit it by just being codependent. And there are so many trauma bond relationships. Some of you are with someone or just came out of being with someone out of trauma bonds. And this is why it's so important for you to heal, for you to heal. And then you get to a place where you finally got far enough where God will bless them to be healing for you as much as you are healing for them. You will want to give and submit and give to each other. And you'll build with that same vibe and energy. And it sustains itself even in the rough times. Arguments don't last. And we have a hard time thinking of this as a possibility when it's a possibility. But the key thing is for us to be cool with it just being us, in spite of the desire to be with someone that pops up from time to time. If you have made bad choices before, the last thing you want to do is find yourself in the frustration that you had to heal from before all over again, because it only gets worse. The more you know better and you mess up, when that pain hits you from that, it's even heavier when you are doing your best to progress. That's why so many people get overcome by the low state and they become complacent. They get into complacency and they just take whatever. And so many young ladies, they'll just sleep with whoever, and so many men will do it. And there's nothing special to it anymore. There's nothing special to that connection. It's just like shaking hands, giving a high five or whatever. There's nothing sacred, although it is sacred, although it is spiritual, and although it does have a realm in and of itself that it taps into, because you're tapping into the deepest parts of one another. And whenever you get a deeper understanding of this, it is it is something that you begin to be more cautious of, because it's not just about sanitation and being sanitary in the body and all that and wearing protection. There's an element of the deepest parts of elements, plural, of the deepest parts of you that a person has access to. So whatever is attached to them, whatever is involved with them, all that energy is exchanged. So many people become so complicated and have so many different disorders energetically that manifest as mental issues, personality issues, emotional issues, untrusting. And when a woman or man has been dogged out, mistreated and all that, then they tend to punish the person that would give them love because they are unhealed, and so they become unequally yoked, and both people are compromising themselves, because one should know better, be like, hey, you know let me let me let me leave this one alone and let her heal. But because she got a pretty face and a pretty body or what have you, she has that appeal. You kind of look past that and you think it's going to be okay. One thing leads to another. There's a sexual exchange and your energy and your vibrations all messed up, and you don't really know what to do to get yourself straight. And there are things you deal with that came from her and vice versa. Maybe it's the guy that's the one that's low vibration. Maybe it's two low vibrational people getting together, further complicating each other's life. And then they, you know, all this other stuff that happens, it's a domino effect. However, it can be euphoric, beautiful. just I mean, everything you trying to get from doing all the stuff you've done, all the stuff you was trying to get, all that stuff you was trying to access and feel, all that stuff you was trying to get out of a lust mentality, out of a scarcity mentality, out of needing, sex to be cathartic and all that kind of stuff, out of needing to be held, needing to feel close to somebody, needing to express yourself physically and just, get your hormones in check because your testosterone going crazy, all that kind of stuff. See, that's that thing that you're seeking after, that euphoria that you're seeking can be experienced and can be repetitively experienced. It's not going to come, no pun intended, in the way of you operating merely off of impulse. It's amazing how this stuff works. It's amazing how it works. You talk about sacred sex. Get with the right person. Get within, your soul knows. And the right person, as you're still healing and growing, the right person scares you. The right person just does something to make you uncomfortable until you get to the place where you are where you need to be in and of yourself. They pop up sometimes in the most unpredictable time, and you don't see them coming. And sometimes they can make you wonder if they're good for you or bad for you. And that's because you're dealing with things in and of yourself that it's like something gets activated when you come across these type of connections. And what I'm trying to tell you right now is that many of you have forfeited this for so long, and you've just settled and you've been in and out of these cycles when there's better that's always been intended for you. However, you got to letting culture kick in, you got to letting conditioning kick in, and your practical mind ruled all of your decisions. And so you had practical results. And for so long you've been a statistic. Excellence is not the product of behaving like a statistic. Excellence in spiritual experience, and I'm going to tell you something, there is a relationship that you can have where the spiritual experience and the sexual experience are just, you know they're in tandem with one another at the same time, because it is beautiful to a pedigree you never thought possible when you do connect on a spiritual level. And that's just all I can say on that. Instead of just connecting on a physical level, and don't get me wrong, you may just be connecting with some people on a physical level and think that that's just it, but it's not. Either way, the spirit's involved, your spirit's involved, and all that energy and all those things that's attached to that person. Yeah, all those generational curses, all that karma becomes conjoined with you. So take this season to absorb what you need to absorb in order to operate in the power you're supposed to operate in, starting off with knowledge. The beginning of an awakening is knowledge. And so it may start off with sensations, and as you begin to understand these things that are happening to you, which comes through knowledge, you begin to be empowered, because with knowledge, you are able to navigate and to behave in a tactical, strategic way. And you become, how can I put that? I won't say you become less dependent on your spirit team. It's just that y'all can work differently. They don't have to. It's not so much warfare and stuff. Warfare is always going to be a part of this life spiritual experience in some shape, form, or fashion. Not every energy is good. Not every intention is good as it relates to you. So get clear, get get clarity as to where you are right now and understand that in order for you to move forward and to move higher, uncomfortable choices must be made. At least try. Try something that you know is going to work in your favor. Just try it. Try it. And I guarantee you can give yourself a pat on the back just from trying it. You may not know where to start, right? You may not know where to start in every case. So, in this world we live in, you have information everywhere. There's books that you can get, and you have to be careful too, right? Because not all information is good information. You got to have discernment. How do you get the discernment? I say it should start with you acknowledging, knowledge is key, acknowledging what you're feeling and coming to the place to where you see how it is affecting you to behave in accordance to that feeling. And so when you understand how behaving in accordance to certain feelings has yielded results, you will discover patterns, and you'll understand why some things have appealed to you because of the energy you've been in before. And so there's just a lot of changes and growth that have to be made, but it does not start until you acknowledge how you've been responsive to your feelings. Where do they come from? What would you do? What choices would you make if you did not feel like you needed to be loved and appreciated because you know you are? And so you should grow step by step. What would it be? Why did you do what you did with so many women or so many young men, or just why did you do what you did with the wrong person? What was it that enticed you? So for some, it's just base lust, and for others, there's more to it than that. Only you can know by getting to the bottom of it. What made you get involved with the relationship on a non-sexual level that led into you being so distracted and so thrown off course? What led you to feeling like you needed to do what you did? Therefore, you did what you did out of the way you felt, and you got the things that you did not want to get out of it that only led to your downfall for so long. Why do you do what you do? You got to stop and think about that. Why do you do what you do? Why do you act that way when you get angry? Why do you act that way when you feel lonely? Why? And then look at what the truth is. Are you really not loved? You're waking up every day. You got breath in your body. You're moving around. You're doing what you're doing, whether you're in a wheelchair or whatever. No matter what it is that you face as a challenge, you are still here with this potential, and it could be worse. What are you giving energy to in your mind and in your heart that turns into the way you behave? It's that perception that needs to be addressed. It's the perception that has to be addressed, because perception is reality and creates reality. If you look for a problem, you're going to find a problem. If you look for a solution, you're going to find a solution. And if you look at something seeing the negative, you give energy to that negative when you act upon it as negative. So, what do you perceive yourself to be in value? What is your story? What is your legacy? What can you overcome that has been overcoming you thus far? Because you can overcome it. Go deep. Your story is written every day you live. Whether you write it or not, Your story is a real story. It's a true story. Whether you live a lie or whether you live the truth, there is a true story that's being told. Whether you live in deception or whether you live in truth. And what do you define as truth? You are a precious creation. You're going through a transition of of awareness, of value, and of purpose and all that good stuff. It's all coming together, amalgamated into one thing that you have as experience on a day by day basis. And there's power in your life by what you perceive it to be. If you make mistakes, which you're going to make mistakes as you live, if you make mistakes, learn from those mistakes and don't make the same ones over and over and over again. And if you've been doing that, which many of us have done that before, and many of you are still doing it, why are you doing it? What is it coming from? It's coming from not just a mindset, but a spiritual condition. Where does that come from? Where did that come from? It may not have come it may not have come from you and be in and of you alone. It may have come from your grandmother. It may have come from your mother. It may have come from your father, your grandfather. It may have come from things being passed down through the lineage. And here you are wondering why this is that and why this is going on. You are assigned to stop the cycle. And nobody gets attacked as much as someone who's assigned to stop the cycle. The cycle is it's like the pervasiveness of the system being fulfilled by making you less than what you really ought to be. See, the system tells you we're only human, so just be mediocre, we're only human. Spirituality tells you you are infinite, you are more than what you perceive yourself to be, and you tap into that daily and you exceed expectations, which you find begins on an internal level and manifests on an external level. You see things differently because you have a kingdom mindset versus a programmed system, matrix as they call it, mindset. And I don't really like to use the word matrix like that because the word matrix itself, as you go into the Greek and all that, the word matrix is tantamount to the opening of the vaginal where the birth canal is. And so through the matrix, the infant comes into this reality through the matrix, and that matrix would be the womb of the woman. So we have turned the word matrix in this society into system. And so don't let the system disguise you by the many guises and disguises that it wears through wordplay and perceptions. It's time for you to step into your power. And in your relationships, be very careful. See, the key thing I want you to take away from this is that you can have a relationship where you are inspiring one another and it's not for selfish gain. You're not getting inspired by him, young woman. It doesn't matter what age you are. You're not getting inspired by him for his sake. He's inspiring you because he wants to see you inspired. She's not inspiring you because she wants whatever you have to offer in her perception of value, whether it be money or what have you. You're not getting buttered up for her selfish benefit. It's genuine. It's the genuine article. And I know it seems so scary and it seems risky because it is your perception oftentimes that it's impossible based upon what you have seen in other relationships prior to your own, through the conditioning on a genetic level, so on and so forth, to where you have had your own experiences and they didn't work out the way that you wanted them to. You won't have to wait as long as you might think. It's all about what's going on the inside, because when you step into that zone of power on the inside where you're fine, you can talk in a way where you're like, baby, I love you, but I don't need you. I want you. See, I want a woman to be like, I don't need you, but you are the object of my desire. You are the man I desire. I want to be able to tell her, baby, I love you. I don't need you, but I want you. I want you so much. I want you so bad that it does hurt the thought of not having you. However, I don't need you, and I don't want you to feel like I should need you. I want you to understand that wanting you is better than needing you, because needing you requires energy to be taken away from you for my sake. But wanting you comes with me giving you what you need because you give me what I need. And just because that's what I want to do. And when it's mutual, it's balanced. When it's not mutual, it's off balance. And so somebody got to be in that relationship as a comfort zone. And so that's where you get the real deal karmic relationship, is when that person is in that relationship that is there more for themselves than the other, and the other one's just giving and giving and giving and getting utilized and settling because they feel like that's what they have to do, because for some reason in their mind they are addicted and dependent on something to do with that person, where there's like a unhealthy connection that feeds their, I don't want to say egotistical need, but I kind of feel like it is related to that. It feeds into something that they feel is missing. And that part of them is that part that's broken. So meditate on these things I'm talking about. If you're single, don't be angry at that status. Make the most of it. And I promise you, once you really start enjoying it, you're going to find out you're not going to be single unless you want to be, because then the real gold mine is going to make itself known. You're going to be able to acknowledge things that you didn't acknowledge. You're going to be able to acknowledge that you're getting attention you didn't even know you could get. And you better use discernment at that point. That's why so much growing has to be done, because when that attention is there, don't get ensnared by the wrong one. But that's not something to worry about when you do the personal work you need to do to grow as you need to. I'm still going to have the episode on the podcast talking about sex and soul ties. I'm going to have my son and one other person in that episode. It's going to be airing this Sunday. So stay tuned. I love you. And I really, really hope that you are, I want to say edified. That's what I'm looking for here. I'm sleepy. I'm tired, y'all. I hope that you're edified. I hope that you're blessed. And I didn't want to be all humorous and stuff like that in this. And y'all, what I represent as a voice on the podcast, on the episodes, that's one aspect of who I am. I'm crazy in person. I'm telling you, I'm goofy, and I'm a person that has things I'm working on, and I'm in this just like you are. I have feelings just like you do. I've had to overcome just like you have to overcome, and that just like you have already overcome in some things. There's work yet to be done. There's value yet to be discovered, because that is a part of being infinite. You are infinite. So take that with you. Peace and love.